Hello, and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by award-winning director Brian Redondo and Savon Jones, aka Captain Vonnie. This is episode 86, and we revisit how we're feeling about She-Hulk and House of the Dragon, as both of those shows head towards the end of their first season. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Confidently Wrong. We're here. We're excited to be here sharing this time with you. I'm not excited to be sharing this time with Savon again, because last time he was just hating on me. He didn't like any of my takes, but that's too bad. We're here.
Hey, Brian had bad takes too.
But I'm still right though. Wes is just
Brian
wrong.
had bad takes too. It's okay. Y'all can be wrong.
I'm confident about my take, though. I'm confident about it.
Yeah, confidently wrong. Title card.
Merch, brand
Cue the music.
All right, so we're going to talk about She-Hulk, and we're going to visit House of the Dragon. Both of those shows are approximately halfway through their seasons, so we thought it'd be a good time to revisit both of these things. At the time of our recording, She-Hulk has had 7 of their 9 episodes come out already. House of the Dragon, I believe, has put out 6 of their episodes at this point. I think they're going to go to 10, I believe. So that's kind of about where we're at. You may get this a little bit after another episode or two have released. So just know that if anything new has happened, it will not include that stuff. Spoilers will definitely be in here. So if you haven't seen those shows, listen up, but just prepare for the spoilers. So let's start with She-Hulk. We're 7 episodes in, actually. The last one, there was some great retreat moments at Noel Blonsky's. What's his name? Emil Blonsky's little compound that he's got going on. How have you been feeling about the show now that we really have an idea of what it is? Because I don't think we really knew what it was going into the show. We've had a time to live in this world, and we kind of get a sense of what it is. Savon, how are you feeling about it?
I'm enjoying it.
You don't sound like it.
I'm enjoying
it.
It's really a lot of fun.
Almost
I'm
broke
very
character
engaged.
for a second. That almost got ugly. No, I am
You're trying to hide in that robe armor right now.
I am genuinely enjoying a lot of She-Hulk. I think when it comes to comedy-based stuff, whether I like it or not, I'll know pretty quickly because am I laughing? That's the big thing.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting there not laughing, I'm like, oh, this ain't hitting it for me.
I've been laughing the past couple episodes. I'm not gonna lie.
That's that's like part of my bar, and so in that sense, I've been laughing, which is good. And I've said this in some other chats with friends I talked to about the show, but I like whoever they have in the writers' room. The jokes feel very like people who are plugged into how a lot of modern culture works. Because a lot of just things and tropes I saw in the show, I can't speak to y'all, but as someone just where I am at my stage of life and my experiences, I was like, yo, this is relatable in a way that I don't know if y'all can quite relate to be honest with you, not in a bad way, but I'm enjoying She-Hulk. It's funny. There's a lot of...
Are they talking about pulling weeds and installing ceiling fans? Because
no,
if not,
they are not.
No, I don't
No,
relate. That's
but the
my
woes
life right
about...
now. And raising babies.
But all the stuff about dating in your 30s and late 20s woes, I'm just like, oh my God. I don't need to be directly called out like this. I appreciate it.
So are you trying to tell me you have a alter ego Tinder account right now? Do you use a different photo?
No, but when I would tell you that whole dating sequence, I was like, every one of those dates is, granted, I'm a dude, so some stuff looks different, but in terms of just like that feeling of hopelessness of like, oh my God, this is awful. I was sitting there like, yo, I feel you, Jen. This shit is trash. We are in these, dating out here is hard. We are in these trenches.
Savon,
it is a war zone in these streets, homie.
Can I blow up your spot about this? Because I believe you and I have specifically talked about your dating profile strategy and how you are not leveraging one of your best and most prominent assets.
That's awful. That's how Jen feels.
Which is
exactly
Jen's problem. She does not want to acknowledge that she is She-Hulk and that she can use that to her advantage. And similarly, our friend Savon here will not admit to all these prospective, young, attractive people that he is over 6 feet tall.
Oh, you got
to. Oh,
to.
my God.
People want to date that.
Yeah.
Nah, that's like driver's license info. Like, if it's a driver's license question, sure, but I'm not just about to, hi, Savon Jones, 6'3". Like, what kind of D-bag crap is that?
No, because if you met them in person, they would know.
You are setting up expectations.
Yeah, but if you met them in person, that's something they would know. They would see you be 6 feet 3 inches tall, and they'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm attracted to that or I'm not. Like, I don't think that's any different than meeting someone in person. It's just now that online dating just means you have a wider pool of people, and so that's the thing they would know when they met you. That's
I don't know. It doesn't feel right.
You don't got to give them your address, bro.
As we are two guys who do not have the luxury of height,
Y'all are married.
You gotta use it
already.
This feels like Goodwill Hunting, man. It's like we're the construction workers, but you are the math genius. If you are still here during the construction work, that's an offense to us.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was good.
You gotta go out and win one.
That's my point. Y'all winning, so stop coming on hop off my back. Y'all the ones winning. Y'all got wives and homes. Like, what? I got a cactus, and it's not even blooming right now.
My wife is 5'2".
What the hell? Oh my God! Y'all not playing
no
for the
basketball.
NBA.
Yeah, no basketball team for you.
Point is, I'm enjoying She-Hulk. It's funny. I think a lot of the jokes feel really modern and fresh, and I'll talk about this maybe at a later question. But each episode feeling so self-contained works for me because they just fully commit to whatever the bit is, and also like a lot of again, I say this about every pod, when the dialogue between characters feels a lot more organic and not just monologue, that always brings me in more. And so watching the characters just interact is just really funny and fun to me, so I'm enjoying it.
I think overall I mostly disagree with what you've said. I don't think you're wrong necessarily. I think that it's not landing for me in the same way. That's so fair. I don't know that the dialogue to me feels like quote unquote real, other than a few moments where it's been fun. But some of it does feel sort of like forced to me or whatever. And as far as like the pop culture plug-in jokes, I wonder, and it doesn't have to age well, but I just wonder if like, because some of those things are just so in the moment, like zeitgeisty, I wonder if that kind of stuff is just like, oh, those are sort of the low-hanging fruit jokes. And I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. And like you said, maybe I'm just also sometimes not the target audience for some of those jokes. I don't know.
You're just old, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too.
Damn.
But
not in a bad way old, but just,
Yeah, some of it just feels a little forced
to me.
It's not
like Wes hasn't dated, man. Like, you get to be married by dating.
Yeah.
That's not my point.
I'll say this. Obviously, in the first few episodes, we had this conversation on the pod that I didn't really love the first few episodes, or the first episode at least. I sort of didn't care what happened. I thought it was just kind of a pointless episode. Like, they could have just literally started with episode 2, and I thought that would have been actually a better start. Every episode has gotten, to me, progressively more enjoyable. So I think that's partly because, sticking with it means I'm getting to know more about like Jen and what she wants and sort of things like that. It's a little bit episodic, so you can kind of just sort of like pay attention for the show. And there's been just really funny moments in the past couple episodes that have stood out. So her friend Nikki going to try and find like the suit guy to get some
the drip broker.
Yeah, the drip broker, right? She's trying to find it. And I think she's trying to find, I missed this part. She's trying to find the drip broker to make clothes for Jen. Is that right?
Yeah, a suit
not for herself or anything.
A suit that can fit her,
stretch,
being able
so
to transform.
I really thought I must have missed the part where she talked about it. I really thought she was just trying to find like Avengers merch for herself. And so it killed me when she went to the fake drip broker and found like the knockoff merch, and then he made her buy it to get like access. Like, I thought that whole scene was just like really well done and really funny.
And of course, that guy's Asian.
Yeah, and her and the dude. But like, I mean, not to play on stereotypes.
when she like,
it kind of works.
And when she started speaking Chinese to him.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. He was like, "Don't
hey.
assume I speak Chinese." Okay, but I do. Like moments.
But don't
like that
assume.
Cool. Yeah.
And she's
she
just
was like,
like,
"Oh, I feel bad. I'm sorry." And then they actually do find the drip broker, right? But they're wearing the Avengers merch, and then like they do like their little dance when he says, "Okay, fine, I'll see you for 15 minutes," and he's like, "I still see you." Like that whole like shtick and sidebar was just like, that part was killing me. And then in the recent episode, sorry, Brian, I'm going to spoil this. They go on the retreat. It's not a spoiler, but they go on the retreat and they do a lot of like discussions, and it feels very like, oh, we're trying to like lampoon sort of the hippy dippy, you know, talk about feelings culture of how things go, of sort of, I don't know what these like granola people, right? But what Brian calls granola, you know, folks.
Crunchy.
But it actually,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the crunchy folks. But it
No
clean
comment.
those sandals.
No comment.
Yeah, but in sort of a left turn, like in some ways, it actually led to some really good like exploration of
Just
Jen
because the
and
hippie
herself
people
and her
annoying don't
feelings.
mean they ain't got points.
Yeah. But like the whole like dialogue that was going on there with these like four meatballs was driving me insane. I laughed out loud probably 2 or 3 times in that recent episode. So props to the writers for putting these couple of scenes together that really spoke to me. And I still overall don't care about the show. Like it's not the show that I'm like trying to watch the day it comes out. I enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna watch the rest of the thing, and then I'm probably totally gonna forget that it happened. And you'll tell me in 3 years, like, oh, remember that She-Hulk? And I'll be like, oh yeah, she did have a show, but I don't remember what happened. So that's kind of where this is landing for me in the.
You don't remember anything else, so
yeah,
okay.
but I'm definitely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I kind of remember Rogue One. I told you, like, there was like a Krennic, there was like a thing, there was plans. You know, I knew about that. This one, I'm not gonna remember anything that happens in like 6 months. I'll just be like, I forgot that show existed.
Reminds me of like a lot of 90s sitcoms when there were so many of them, like TGIF and all that garbage. And
TGIF was great.
Yeah, I remember that there was a show. Oh yeah, that person had a show, I think.
Yeah. Boy Meets World, Topanga.
Well, you almost
like,
watching some bad sitcoms.
I don't really remember any of it.
Family Matters.
Yeah, we talk. But then you got the Martins, you know, we've done this. The Martins, the Wayans brothers, the Steve Harvey Show. Those were yeah, everybody had them, but they were good. Oh,
Sister. As a kid, I enjoyed Sister. I mean, I'm sure that show does not hold up at all, but Sister was fun when you were a kid.
Sister was good.
But it's like the episodes, like,
don't matter.
Remember any of them?
But that's kind of the point of the show. The point, and we honestly we used to complain about this with all the other shows of everything having to be a big thing. This is the opposite of that. There isn't a larger. I mean, there's some background stuff happening, but the show isn't about a larger conflict. It's just about episodic, self-contained things that happen that are loosely.
I hope they
together.
stick with that.
So you got. This show.
If you're gonna do
like
that, I hope they stick with that, and they don't like in the last 2 episodes just start being like, oh, and now she's an Avenger and she's got to go off and do this thing.
I mean, you have to accept that it's still a superhero thing, and she's gonna be connected.
You can't talk out both sides of your mouth on this one. What?
Yes, I can. I have a whole mouth. That's the whole point.
No.
Yes, I can. I have a whole mouth. That's the whole point.
Okay.
Yes, you got the Ninja Turtle mouth.
My point is, no, absolutely. The show is doing a great job of striking a balance, at least for me, of the She-Hulk story and how she's always worked is best of these fun, self-contained stories that are more silly, but there's still something clearly more sinister brewing in the back that the show has going on. Make peace with now that this is going to have to tie into the larger stuff, because that's how the MCU stuff goes. If you're upset about that, don't watch the shows.
I'm not upset by it.
Because that's going to happen.
I mean, they haven't made it that yet, so it's like it's going to be a weird turn when they do it in the last episode. I
mean, they've been building it up since like some of the earliest episodes, though. Like, there's always been dropping nuggets of what the larger conflict is going to be. Like, they've been doing that for almost every episode. It's just not the focus, which I think is fine because, again, you get to have the funny character moments instead of She-Hulk just being a 6-hour movie.
Well, I think episodic content,
which is the issue the others have.
Self-contained episodic content can be great, but that alone does not make a show good.
Agreed.
And I will say the biggest spoiler here is the fact that this show is bad.
Oh, that's such
it is spoiled.
Cold take.
I'm on record, you know, after that first episode came out, you know, I was gushing about Tatiana Maslany. I was gushing about her. I thought this was like a very funny show. It had a lot of room to run. And you know, every episode after that has got me feeling like, wow, was I fooled? They really got one over me. This is not a good show. Like, through and through. This is not a good show. Like the jokes, I get what they're doing. They're not funny. Like there's maybe like one that hits, like the Avengers thing. Okay, that's cute. Whatever. It's not actually like laugh out loud funny. If you guys are laughing out loud,
I did. I laughed out loud.
I'm never gonna listen to you when you recommend a stand-up comedy. Like, just not. But I think actually the thing that bothers me most about this show is that I think Tatiana Maslany is actually really perfect casting for She-Hulk, and the way that they set her up, you know, all the silly, funny banter she had with Bruce, where, you know, she was like asking about America's ass and whether or not Steve Rogers got down like that. All that stuff.
They've gone away from that.
Has been lost.
Yeah.
It's completely gone now because as the show has jumped into its episodic format where they have case of the week, guest spot of the week, you know, Wong, Emil Blonsky, you know, this Mr. Immortal dude, you know, whatever MCU thing they want to throw in. They spend so much time on that, and then they have all these side characters like Jen's assistant, the other attorneys,
Nikki,
doing all this random stuff. Them going out to go find the drip guy. None of that involves Jen, right? They spend so much time on that, but they are the ones giving the ability to be silly, right? Like Wong gets to be silly. Emil Blonsky gets to be silly.
Yeah, I didn't like the Wong episode.
The you know, her assistant gets to be snarky and stuff. And
she's
that
means
that Jen has to be the one to become the straight man. And so because that happens, we do not get any of the character, any of the light that we saw in that first episode. She doesn't have an opportunity to be funny, and she is also absent from basically 80% of the show, maybe 60%. Savon is flabbergasted. But I mean, if you think about it, you know I'm right. She does not really get the opportunity to do the punchline, to land the jokes. And then her as a character, you know, because we're spending so much time on this other nonsense that really we don't care about, right? Like they're just goofy, right? It's like,
yeah,
like I don't care about Wong. You're just doing this fan service thing for I don't know why. I have no idea why. When really you could actually pare down the show and just really focus on Jen Walters. You just follow Jen every single scene. She should be in every single scene, and she should be allowed to, you know, be snarky, be funny, not be the straight person in those scenes, right? She needs to be the one that, you know, is engaging the laughter. And so I think that's the biggest problem with the show, because it ultimately makes you not give a damn about She-Hulk herself or what her journey is, because like the show, you know, is not spending a lot of effort on that. It's spending all the time on whatever that side plot is every single episode. So, you know, it's just like, as Wes said, it's like, I'm going to forget about this in a couple months. I've already forgotten about it week to week. It's like, this is
get him out of here. That's strike 3, flag on the play.
Poorly written show.
Ice cold take. Get this man a jacket. Get him a scarf. Get him some hot cocoa.
It's bad.
See, I think her being the straight man is hilarious because it lets her bounce off of these ridiculous characters and their ridiculous behaviors and situations.
Do you enjoy when she breaks the fourth wall, Savon?
Yeah, I mean, like
I have not enjoyed a single time she's done it. I just wish they would cut that out.
It's never purposeful.
I mean,
for that to work, she's got to be doing that like every other scene or something, right? She's got to clue us in onto what's going on with her internally, and then add some insight. Usually, she's just like, "Yeah, you wanted Wong? Here's Wong," and like that's
why.
It.
Yeah, like does she tell the future?
Because literally, that is literally just a She-Hulk comic thing of she just consistently.
But it doesn't make sense.
But that's what I'm saying. They're just doing these things because they're comic things. They're doing the fan service thing because it's it's the MCU.
Yeah,
so
but that's just different expectations of what we want the fourth wall break to be.
Break the fourth wall.
Because you liking it, you like when is Deadpool breaks the fourth wall? What is breaking the fourth?
But it's Yeah,
you get
and
to
he
know
does it
more
all
about
the
how he's
time.
thinking. Yeah,
Like most of the time, it's just a part of their bit. Now he does it a lot more, but
And he does
I
it
don't know.
well.
It's
He's
not about
adding
more.
to the
See,
scene.
you
Yeah.
see, I don't know if I agree with that. I think a lot of the Deadpool breaking the fourth wall is a little too much, but I don't think
It's not about
bad.
too much. It's
I
about
just
like
think
there's a
it's
reason for it. Like it helps you understand the story or the event or whatever more. These never do that, and
I
they're
mean,
not
you
funny.
don't think it's not?
And
It's
they're
her
not
inner
funny.
monologue. I mean, to me, it feels like it's her inner monologue. Like it's every
But
fourth
we
wall
only-
brawl I've seen, I'm like, oh, this is okay. This is her thoughts, or it's just making
Her
some
thoughts
kind
on
of
like
meta
why we
joke.
don't get to see Wong. She's
Yeah,
doing
or
our
it's-
thoughts for us.
She does it once an episode too. So
And
it's
know,
but
like,
she
I guess
does
I
it
don't
our
have-
thoughts.
I guess I just don't have a problem with that. Like that
Right.
wasn't something that I
Yeah,
saw
that's
and was
what-
like,
that's what I was
oh,
asking.
this takes away from the show. Like it was oh, cool. She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall. This is her inner monologue. It's a part of a little, like the most recent episode when she does the fourth wall breaking. It's like, do y'all remember who this is? We didn't do this in a recap. F it. We're gonna go back. We're gonna do this anyway.
That was okay. I didn't mind that one because
like,
I
to
did
me,
forget
that
who
was-
that guy was.
Yeah, and and that was a
Yeah.
part of the joke.
Yeah.
Or even like the Wong joke of like, Wong, they make a whole meta Twitter joke.
Eh.
I'm okay with her making those really, really meta references because that's just how the character has done it before. Now, if you don't like it, that's cool, and I'm not gonna
Yeah,
hold
that's what I
that
was
against you for not liking it. But there's a difference between something being bad and something being not what you would have wanted it to be. Which you're still
No, but these are
entitled to think
both.
that it's bad, but I disagree on that regard.
it is.
Alright.
I mean, like it's trying to be what I wanted it to be. I see I see how this shape and template could be great. It's just not. It's just not well
See,
done.
See, I like this show the way, similar reason that I liked Ms. Marvel, because it's just fun to watch the characters interact with each other in funny ways. Like whenever the characters are in a room together, I'm like, all right, there's fun interactions. All the interactions with Nikki, to me, she's just an entertaining character to watch. Watching Jen bounce between responding to just all the sheer ridiculousness that she has to deal with, and then still have her little introspective, man, She-Hulk is a blessing and a curse moments. Like to me, I actually thought the show's done a good job of making me care about her struggles because we've gotten to see it manifest in her being insecure about her place in work because she has to always be transformed, the perils that come with dating, and people liking you for you, Jen or She-Hulk, her having to then get publicly dragged in court, the getting sued thing. Like I think they're doing a lot of stuff that's making you have to be along the ride of, hey, this is what comes with She-Hulk, good and bad. So again, I'm not gonna say you have to have liked it, but I think it's disingenuous to say that the show hasn't done a genuine effort in portraying that. They've talked about it professionally, personally,
He's not.
dating,
He's saying they just did it
family
badly.
relationships.
Yeah.
No, he was saying before that she's not on screen enough, which
She's not.
in that sense,
She's barely on screen.
I think she gets a pretty good amount of screen time. But also, I'm okay with how they use, and when she's not on screen, to your point, the show even jokes about B plot. Like the B plots aren't boring to me. Watching the other characters do their thing, like Jen wasn't involved in a drip broker little B plot. I enjoyed that B plot from top to bottom because
And she joins it later. She comes in later.
at the tail end because they
Yeah.
combined it and they make a meta joke about that too of how look we're bringing them together. But to me, just the whole can I get a favor? Hey yo, I collect shoes and I do these shoe drops and I need a person in line for me. Like to me, that entire bit is just two non-powered characters who aren't big comic presences having a fun, what I think is very realistic interaction. Because I know people who collect shoes and I'm like, yo, this isn't a crazy out there interaction. But again, but also
comical.
I'll admit a lot of what I enjoy with the show is that the moments I've enjoyed most are the ones that felt really relatable. But also I think that is a different places. Like I said, the whole dating episode, I was like, yo, this hit home harder than I wanted it to. Even just the y'all saying put the 6'3" in your profile. Like it's not the same as being a She-Hulk, but point is that there's a lot of little things that I think certain viewers in the audience will more readily identify with. And I think that, for me at least, is a big part of why I'm enjoying it.
All right.
There's shows I've
I
watched
think
that are
they're-
good, but I didn't relate to it. And I'm like, this isn't bad, but I'm clearly not the people this was made for. And so that's, maybe y'all just not in the target audience. I mean, Brian, I know you just think that it's bad. Obviously that's your prerogative.
I think
But-
that's you're taking you're like really taking the easy way out on this, just saying like, oh, we're not the target, so you don't get it. Like that is so dismissive.
You're
Like,
dismissive.
The thing is that I met my wife on online dating, so I think I know a thing or two about online dating. I've been on a lot of those dates, buddy. The fact of the matter is, like, these are just like low hanging fruit zeitgeisty jokes that don't really land, right? Like, yeah, we can relate to it, but clearly you're trying to, just like do these kind of like cliche jokes that are commenting on the culture of, you know, what everybody's doing right now without really like finding something new and funny to say about it. And I
agree
think
with
that's where the show it falls flat. Like you can see what they're attempting to do,
that.
but they're not sticking the landing on
Yeah.
most of it. Like everything you said about Jen's arc and like all the struggles that she has, I'm right there with you on all of that. I think that all that stuff is great potential for this story arc, but they're not telling the story well, right? They're not giving it its due. Like they're not letting Tatiana Maslany do her thing. And so I think there's definitely a huge gap between, you know, what the show is attempting and the template it's creating and the sandbox it's building versus how they're actually executing on all of that.
I like it. Let's say no more. There's still 2 more episodes to come. That alarm that you heard went off in the background unprofessionally was us telling us it's time to move on. And I think Savon and Brian, I think both said what they were going to say. So let's not recap all of that. It was good. And we'll see. There's 2 more episodes. Let's see how it turns out. It might take some left turns here in the remaining shows.
Better than Moon Knight, better than Loki. I said it.
Whoa.
Those are
I think
bad.
this is one of their I think this is one of their better shows. I think this show has more replay value than most of the other Disney stuff.
No.
Don't ask me.
Untrue.
Ask about
Untrue.
me.
Wow.
Ask
Okay.
about me.
Damn, you like this show. Okay. House of the Dragon, HBO Max, our foray into Westeros, a little bit into, is it called Easteros? Where's the other side? Bravos?
Essos?
Essos,
Sure.
that's right. Yeah, we get a little bit of Essos
I was just
in
like,
this
what
one.
the hell are you talking about?
Southernos.
Easteros. Yeah. So we're in House of the Dragon. We're with Rhaenyra. We're with Viserys. We're with all these characters that we've gotten to know over the past few episodes. And we've gotten a big jump in time over the course of those first 5 or 6 episodes. We've seen Rhaenyra grow up to be approximately 12 or 13 years old to now being probably in her mid-20s at this point. She's changed quite a bit. They changed actors on us for many of the characters, especially the ones who started out as kids and are now adults. All of that being said, how are we feeling about the show, the story? I've really been into it. I'm looking forward to the show when it comes out every week. Savon, where are you landing on this one?
Whew, hold on, gotta compose my head there. Hold on, y'all on one this weekend. My goodness.
Well, if Mike's not here to, to poke at you, somebody's got to take up the mantle.
Y'all are just the worst. No, but House of the Dragon, I'm enjoying it. A bunch of the feelings I had about the show going into it have been. It's been affirmed. I wanted a tighter story that was smaller in scale, or really this is a lot more of a dense story, and I'm getting that and I'm appreciating it. Like every episode, my feelings about characters are constantly switching and shifting because they have very interconnected relationships to where their actions impact one another in a very deep way.
Yeah.
That just didn't quite happen in Game of Thrones. Again, where characters are so far removed from each other, there's inevitably going to be plot lines you just stop caring about because they don't impact other plot lines you do. Even in this show, characters you don't care about do stuff.
Going 2 to 3 years between episodes is probably helping that as well.
Yeah, it's a pacing. This is a long-term story. This isn't something that happens overnight. This is, I don't want to accidentally spoil the conflict, but I think we can kind of hint what's going to end up popping off. But this isn't something that happens overnight, right? Like these are years and years and years of slights, of little actions, big actions that leads into a pop. And so you're right. Even just having like month-long, 6-month time skips, even in between episodes, does a good job of them telling this long, lifelong kind of tale that they're going for. Where Game of Thrones, you kind of had to just do it season by season, and then just a year's passed by, which is a little different vibe.
Yeah, I think the time jumps for the most part make it pretty interesting, right? Like because you're as an audience, you're always like trying to catch up. Like,
yeah.
Oh, wait. Right. Oh, Alicent's got babies now. Like, yeah. Oh, wait, what does that mean for everything? Right? Like the equation keeps changing from episode to episode. So
I'm liking that part of it.
I think that. Yeah, it's actually an interesting storytelling device. I think the show as a whole, it's still, it's still Game of Thrones, right? It's incredibly well made. Everything is top-notch quality. Performances, cinematography, the writing, dialogue, set dressing, art direction, all of that, right? And I'm definitely invested in this show. This is like the one show that it's 9:00 Sunday night. I'm watching this show, right?
Okay.
They got me there, right? The Game of Thrones
appointment viewing,
king of that. However, I will say, as the show progresses, particularly with the most recent jump that we've seen, right, the 10-year jump with the new actresses. And by the way, they only changed the actresses, I think, right? They changed Alison Rhaenyra Lena.
Yep.
Oh, and Rhaenyra's
Laenor.
Laenor's changed twice actually now.
Yeah, he's had 3.
Yeah, that's true. Aside from that, like, why is Kristen still the same? But anyway, with this last jump, I am starting to feel like, okay, I'm not sure what this show is trying to say overall, other than, here's a lot of juicy family melodrama, right? Like, in some ways,
I think that's it, actually.
It's kind of like Succession, but
yeah,
Succession because it takes place with basically a Fox News like big corporate family. Like, it has some of the heft, right? Because it exists in our world, and this is how like the ultra rich and the ultra powerful act. This is like historical fiction, right? Where we're getting all the family dynamics and that kind of backstabbing and gamesmanship, but like, I don't know, like, at the end of the day, it feels like that's it, right? Like, I'm watching a kind of a soap opera. I mean, it's a really good soap opera. It's like the best soap opera ever. But soap opera.
So I have a good response to that. So friend of the show, Kendall, I was talking to about this exact point at length.
What's up, Kendall?
And it's funny because it's one of the things that I was looking forward to about the show. And I think it shows a split between what people watched Game of Thrones for. And this isn't a bad thing. Kendall's take was very similar to yours. There's nothing bad about the show. There's nothing that's poor in its quality or writing or production. But Kendall, when he watched Game of Thrones, he was there for the White Walkers, the epic wars, the multiple armies and multiple wars. And, people forget in season 2 of Thrones, it's literally called the War of the Five Kings. You have 5 different factions that are all going at it with all different plot lines and stories. And there's the Daenerys buildup. He was into all of that big war stuff. Now, there's going to be some conflict in this show, but that is not what this is about as much. And then there's the other Game of Thrones people who are there for the politics, the intrigue, the backstabbing, the character-driven such things. And, there's people who like both. But if you're someone who's there because at the end of the season, you want to see an army throw hands or you want to have the Viper versus the Mountain type battle thing, you're not going to get that. You're going to have some of it, but that's not what this show is overall about. And I do think I think y'all are in a similar boat of it's not bad. Game of Thrones was scratching a different itch than what House of the Dragon is meant to be scratching.
But I kind of agree with that. But I think even the political half of what you just described, like of the original Game of Thrones series, with all of the gamesmanship and betrayals and angling, I think I'm kind of missing that from House of the Dragon too, right? Like, I'm missing the Littlefinger type characters, the people who feel like they're doing some grand plan. They got that dastardly thing going on. They're being duplicitous. We get a little bit less of that, right?
You're right. It's not.
We get Allison, who's just upset that her friend lied to her about having sex. But
it did lead to her dad getting banished. Like, that's a pretty, like, my dad got fired because of you, dog.
No. But like, he was gonna get fired anyway, right? Like, I get that's sort of like what they're trying to make of it, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, there's all this family drama, but I miss having there be something more behind all of it.
House of the Dragon, at least in my, and again, this is from reading the books too, of what the main takeaway when you read the book about that conflict is too. This show is a criticism of just how trash actual dynastic politics are. and how
exactly.
it is an L for all parties involved. There's not a single person in this show who is happy with their life situation, even though they exist in positions of extreme privilege and power, because of a complete lack of agency in your own life decisions. And this show is really about how the ramifications of that can be disastrous for everybody. The main one being, Rhaenyra having a husband who's a brother with silver hair, and then have them white, brown-haired children just walking around the castle, the castle casually. I'm like, yo, that's, to your point, it's not this. You're right. It's not that same political intrigue, and then you're right. This show isn't going to have, I think, a Littlefinger level character because the plot isn't on that scale either. But yeah, I mean, this is more about the family relationship. So yeah, I guess if you're the family drama stuff would be fun. But you're right. If you're into more politics and big epic war stuff, this show might not be able to scratch that itch in the same way. I actually think I agree. It's a good point.
It's like, it kind of feels maybe a little bit more like something like The Tudors, or, one of those other period dramas about monarchs and queens.
I will say, I'm still glad they do that, because otherwise I feel like maybe it'd be too similar to Game of Thrones in not a good way.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's a mixed bag of, like,
which I was worried about before too.
Yeah, because then if you just try and do everything via epic battle, then people are just going to keep comparing it in a way where it's like, they're meant to be the same world. Maybe they're meant to be, they're telling different stories, and that's okay. It's just recognizing what the story is going to be so you can know, is this for me or not? Because if you're not interested in a story about dynastic politics and marriage and family relationships for decades, then this probably ain't the show for you. But if you're with it and like the world, then, which a lot of people do, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think I've seen enough to say, like, I enjoyed the first few seasons of Game of Thrones more than this one, but I still really like this show. I think they're doing a lot of great things. I think some of the characters are really interesting. I think Alicent's, actions and reactions and all of that stuff is a nice catalyst for, like, what's going on around the kingdom, and having all of these really interesting interactions with Laenor and Rhaenyra and Daemon and Laena and Rhaenys. Savon put his headphone up to the microphone, and then I heard myself talk, and then I got distracted.
Just scratched my ear.
We needed you to have an echo for when you said Rhaenys.
Yeah, it was like
Rhaenys.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's going to be, not hopefully in a bad way, but hopefully in a story way. I think Viserys needs to go, right? And then we need to see the power vacuum and what's going to happen in that moment where the kingdom and the people have to decide who is going to be our leader. How are we going to progress and change power here, or how is power going to change hands here? And hopefully we'll get that soon, because I do think it's kind of time for that. It's kind of time to see, like, what happens as we start to make big changes here. So hopefully that'll come in this season. Hopefully they're not going to save that for next season, but I've been enjoying it.
Anna and I have a power vacuum. It's made by Dyson. Very expensive, but very effective.
You got the Dyson?
Oh yeah.
Is it the power ball or is it the stick one?
It's the stick one, I think.
Nice.
And Grandpa, calm down. Calm down, yo.
V8, V10, V6,
hey,
what'd you go
I
with?
gotta say that
Those
people really loved
shit,
Wes's talk about pulling weeds.
Did they?
I've gotten feedback. Friend of the show,
Nobody
Matt
said they
Rodriguez.
liked it to me.
I'm looking at
what
you.
In the F? What do you people want?
Pandering to our dad audience.
Good, yeah, clearly. Oh my God, I'm sorry for the not dad audience or not parent audience out there.
All right, so assume that we start to rumble towards these showdowns and these factions and alliances that are being formed here. Is there someone you're like, hey, I'm kind of on their side at this point? Like, I kind of hope that they start to, like, really maneuver themselves in a position of power. Are you really enjoying how a character is getting into their position of power? What are you sort of here for? Or are you just, like, against somebody? Or are you like, that person definitely needs to not be on the throne? Like, for me, Alicent, I'm kind of rooting against her. I really don't want her or Aegon to take over. It just seems like they're just not. I don't know.
You just don't like them.
I just don't like them. Yeah, and I
don't
want them
like
to win.
them. They shouldn't lead.
I don't want them to win.
You're like a citizen of Westeros.
Yeah, just I don't like.
I'm not casting my vote for them.
I couldn't get a beer with them. I couldn't get a beer with Alicent Hightower. I don't think I want her as my queen.
How are you guys feeling about these characters? Brian, start us off. Are you for somebody, against somebody? Are you just like agnostic? You just want to see how it plays out? Or are you like, I'm not voting, it doesn't matter anyways?
I still think Viserys
full of women
is not fit for Westeros. Clearly, he's like in that most recent episode when Rhaenyra makes a marriage proposal to Alicent. He's like, "Oh, a fine proposal." Like
he did do it that way.
That dude,
a most judicious proposal.
Someone cannot say that in the Game of Thrones world in Westeros without getting their head lopped off. Like, come on, man. This ain't right. But
he just wants to be with his grandbabies. He's just trying to vibe. He ain't asked for this shit. He's so over this job.
Yeah,
seriously.
He does not want this job. She's like, man, this is some bullshit I've ever seen it. He's never been happy in this show.
And then I mean, in terms of like dislikes, Alicent, I already mentioned like her, like just the amount of rage that she is projecting right now by episode 6, like
it's outsized.
I'm not really feeling that angle. And the thing that I want more of, that the characters that I want to see do their thing, actually is Daemon, for one, right? Because he's probably the most complex character on the show. He's also loose cannon. We don't know what he's gonna do, and he's trying to hook up with his niece, which I'm not saying is like a great thing, but it's just like
his wife was already so bad.
Oh, Lena. Yeah. Anyway,
R.I.P.
Yeah, exactly. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one.
Wait, what did Savon say?
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Lena. Like,
yeah,
Lena, bro.
The good ones are always taken.
She was
and
the
in
baddest
Game of Thrones,
Targaryen.
The good ones are always gone.
She was the baddest Targ of them all.
And cool. She had the biggest dragon.
She had the biggest dragon. She was the baddest. Man, come on, bro. Like,
she's trying to keep him interested too.
Her dad was a brother with money too.
Yeah. So. But yeah, so like I want more of Daemon for sure, and the other person who we need way more of is, as you said, Lena's dad, right? I need to see the sea snake, because
Lord Corlys.
Lord Corlys, yeah, he does seem like the perfect Game of Thrones character, right? Like he is playing chess while these other guys are playing checkers, and I would love to see more of that. As I mentioned, right, there are things from Game of Thrones that I want, and that is something that I've been craving from this show.
Mm-hmm. Savon, are you on team Alicent?
So look, this is the deal. I want to cheer for Rhaenyra, but she is just she just actively sabotages herself and makes life harder for herself and everyone around her in a way where I'm just like, dude, you why? Like she has the most moments of you had a decision you could have made that wasn't the foolish one, and you went out of your way to make the foolish one. She had the most agency in being able to pick a match in a world where no one gets to pick a match. She got to pick with whatever. She fumbled that bag. She still was able to get hooked up with like a dragon rider, and you just hit him with the, hey, look, we just gonna both hook up and do our own thing. That's a dub. She get knocked up by the bodyguard and got 3 brown-haired white children just running around the damn castle. Come on, bruh. Like, come on, man. You gotta play the game. Like, if you want to smash your side piece, that's fine. But dang, like, do your duties. Like, have y'all do y'all thing. Have your little child. I know he don't like women or whatever. I get it. He's gay. Y'all gotta figure that shit out, because now we about to have a civil war because you was just like, nah.
Yeah, geez, like break out the turkey baster.
And he a brother, and he got white hair, and you got these children who have neither, and she got 3 of them. Come on, dog.
Genetics don't work the same.
I love how Viserys is like,
she's more
he's got
than
your
just
nose.
a breeder, Savon. She's more.
Yeah, I never see she's more than a breeder. She's
doesn't sound like. It sounds like you said she got to do her duty and breed.
She does. She's the same way Viserys had to marry the girl he don't want to marry. Same way everybody. That's the whole point of the show. Dynastic politics sucks. It sucks for everybody. But she the only person who's like, nah, actually, I'm gonna just do what I want. Everybody else took the L.
Because she's willing to buck the system and do her own thing and do it what she believes in. You're saying she's now making
in terms of setting herself and the people around her up for failure. Yes. Yes. What's gonna happen when your bastard born children suddenly want to ascend the throne? Everybody's just like, no.
You better bring the same energy when Kyrie messes up this season. That's all.
Kyrie?
Yeah.
What the hell? I'm not even a Nets fan. What the hell this got to do with nothing? No,
yeah, I don't get that analogy, Wes.
No, don't talk.
Because he didn't do his duty. He chose to do his own thing.
Yeah, he was foolish.
No,
but also
he was. Rhaenyra, though, is that she tried to have her cake and eat it too. In the previous episode, she's trying to tell Kristen, like, I have to do what's right for Westeros, but you could still smash, because that's what I want. And
and Harwin went for it.
Look, she can't have it both ways.
Went for it. She
did have it both ways. No, it's the same way I told students. Look, if you're gonna break a rule, that's fine. I can't make you follow every rule in existence. But if you're gonna break a rule, I'm gonna need you to be.
She's saying men could have done the same thing.
Yeah, but guess what? Like that's not the world they're in. People got to marry people they don't want to get married to. Laenor had to marry a woman. He gay. He don't want to do that. But he got to take it. Also, here's the thing: Rhaenyra still got to smash who she wanted. Just don't get knocked up by the people who you smashing who's not your husband.
I don't know if they got condoms in this situation though.
They have contraceptives. And either way, you can at least produce one. Look, there's a million people in this show who are in loveless marriages and have side pieces who
that
still
doesn't
have
make it right, Savon. I'm here for love who you want. That's what I'm here for.
All right, well, just don't destabilize the government in the process. That's the easy one.
I didn't know you were a bootlicker, Savon. I see you.
Government I'm not a bootlicker, but I don't believe in self-sabotage. This is just Rhaenyra. I like Rhaenyra. I agree with her general point. But I'm like, yo, you being dumb about it. And so you get
at least Cersei covered it up, right?
Yeah, Cersei at least was smart about it. I'm like, look, you're gonna break a rule. Don't be dumb about how you break it. Cersei at least has some plausible deniability. Homie, she has none.
Not much. She was.
Your husband.
They were having sex in the whole sept in front of everybody, and that
not in front of people. Yeah, she was. But point is, that was still a public, a secret-ish. It didn't start. It was just levels. And also, so here's the thing: Alicent, I'm cheering for. No, actually, no, I'm not. I'm not cheering for Alicent. She is another example of the person who you hate, who is right. I don't like
right.
Alicent.
She right.
She's not likable because how do I put this? She's in the camp of, yo, man, you don't gotta like your job, but you gotta do your job. And she has taken L's in her life, basically just being a good soldier. Again, I don't like Alicent. She's not likable at all. But a bunch of the stuff she's saying is right. There's gonna be a conflict of succession. Her dad was right. Rhaenyra is being stubborn and foolish about her role in all this. And I don't want to accidentally spoil nothing, but a lot of stuff is gonna happen. A lot of it is because of the stuff Rhaenyra did. It's just look at the conflict setting up. It's because of Rhaenyra's actions. It's yo, V, I like you, but yo, it's like watching your friend F up their life. And it's yo, you my friend, I like you, but yo, you're the problem right now, pimp.
Just because she doesn't conform to the standards you're setting for her and the kingdom sets for her. That's all I'm saying. I'm Team Rhaenyra now.
Wes, you can't be running around with your black silver haired husband.
I'm mostly
with the brown haired white
you.
children. I know you troll. I'm just saying. Dude, I visibly started laughing when they walked in the chamber and they had them 3 brown-haired children. I was like, boy, what the hell is this? Because I saw Laenor in the previous episode. I'm like, Laenor is a brother. And
yeah, it's going to be a problem.
I'm just all right, there's not going to be... When Viserys said that baby got her father's nose, I could have threw a brick through the damn TV. I was like, oh, so this is House of the Maury right now. We need Maury in this joint. In the case of young
you
the
are
Targaryen
not the father.
You are not the father, because this is out of pocket. I think it's worse because Laenor is black, so there's no plausible deniability. It's just yo, you can't be cheating if you're gonna cheat and get knocked up, you can't cheat and get knocked up by somebody who's also just a different race too. I don't mean that in a racist way. I mean that in an actual just presentation of what the child will look like. It's just logistics.
Yeah, I don't know how much in Game of Thrones they've established whether genetics, that is established or not. I think they are doing a little bit this year, but it doesn't seem to matter. You don't have to. Well, they have said people are darker, right, from the South. But other than that, I don't know.
In Game of Thrones, the whole Joffrey war is because Ned realizes Joffrey's hair is blonde, Baratheon black hair is super dominant. Him not having black hair is a red flag. That's the whole thing that pops off the conflict. Is he pieces that together.
All right,
they have very weird hair genetic rules in that show.
They do.
That's the sci-fi.
It's the hair though, but not always about skin.
Them jeans is strong as shit in that show. Is what I'll say. Boy, if your great granddaddy had white hair, boy, you're
gonna have white hair. Yeah, but I think it's less about skin color and more about, like you said, hair color and stuff that they focus on.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I'm enjoying this show. I think it's worth watching. People out there, you should be watching this show. I think people are watching this show and they're enjoying it too.
The viewer list is shooting up through the roof.
Yeah,
The
I need less dragons though in this show. I don't know
You
why.
you need less dragons in this show.
There's
Yeah,
barely any dragons in the show.
but I need less. They're setting up so there's gonna be more dragons.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Less dragon. You know, just
You-
like a sprinkle.
What is wrong with the dragons
Brian,
so far?
Are we tripping? Like what is?
I don't
see a
even
show called House of the Dragon.
I haven't thought this fully out yet. But
All
it's
right,
like
Game
you
of
know,
Thrones
you
had
don't want
3 dragons
ahead.
in
It's
its
like-
run.
putting too much salt in the you know, like a little is good. Too much is too much.
But
Salt.
nothing has happened with the dragons.
No?
No.
They've had where there's like the story around like who's bonded with the dragons. They've done the thing where like the dragons came in and smushed the guy, and then they lit the people on fire, and then the other dragon lit Lena on fire. There's a lot
That's
of
too
dragons.
much for you.
There's
That's too much.
There's
Dragons
such
lit
background
Aemma on
detail.
fire.
The whole point of the show is that this is when the
They were
Targaryens were
riding
at
the
the
dragons.
height of their
Lena
power
and
with
Daemon were riding
dragons.
the dragons. Also,
That's
Daemon's
the point
dragon.
of the show.
Daemon's
Yeah.
dragon looks weird.
But
Its
they
neck
might
is
as well
too
be
long.
riding horses in that scene. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like
It
a
didn't need to be a
detail.
dragon.
They're Targaryens.
All right, fair
That's
enough.
it.
Wes, when they announced this show, people was like, "Oh, this is the point in the show when they have the most dragons," and you're just like, "Nah."
Yeah, too much dragon.
Even though in the original 3 was like more like, really?
Too much
I
dragon.
wish House of the Dragon was like more literal, and it was kind
give
of
me
like
one
that
dragon.
show Dinosaur. Where it's just
For the
like,
record,
you know, a
people,
bunch of
y'all heard it here
dragons hanging
first.
out in the living room.
Yeah.
To be clear, you heard it here first.
Not the-
Wes,
not the
watching
father.
House of the Dragon, the show where they're gonna have the Targaryen dragon house family with their dragons they own. He wants less dragon.
Less dragon.
You heard it here first.
They can be there. I just
Captain
don't want
America
Them, I don't want them
needs
in the
less
show
America.
as much. I just don't want them to show as much. Less for them to do. Put them in the background. They can be
Infinity War, maybe it should be a finite war, you know?
All right, let's wrap this show up. Hit us up on our socials at confidently_pod. This has been a fun
Wait.
one. What?
Quick thing.
Yes.
Yo, that wedding scene when the people had the music playing and dancing. Y'all ever been at a party where you could sense the vibes is off and people about to start throwing bottles and fighting?
Oh my god.
You know what I'm talking? You ever been at one of them
Yeah.
kind of parties?
People start
that
looking
was the vibe where I was just like, yo, people drinking, people mean mugging. They got like 7 factions of folk beefed out right now. Nuck if
just-
you buck is gonna play, it's gonna get ridiculous. And then the people started nucking and bucking. I just
This
had to
just-
throw that out there
This is
because
the
I was at home.
cafeteria at lunch in New Orleans, Savon. You know how it is.
Yeah, just like, oh boy, summer
Yeah,
is
something's
hot.
happening.
The AC broke. Them kids,
Oh shit! There
or
goes
it's-
an apple. It's about
Or
to
look,
go.
or it's spring. Hormones is in the air. They done finally got out from the cold. It's just like, oh shit, here we go.
Every like ethnic specific party like I've ever been to has felt that way. It's like
Yeah, just like
if
put
I'm
all of
if
one
I'm at a
race in a room.
Filipino party, I know like this is gonna go down. If I'm at an Indian party, I know like oh it's gonna go
If I'm at a
down.
frat party with a bunch of white dudes about to go
About to
down.
go down.
It's
If
about
I'm at
to
the
go
duck off with
down,
all
yeah.
black. Yeah. Okay, so we
All
could agree
Korean
confidently
party,
wrong
oh.
take. If you put all of one race in a room and it's a party, something about to pop off.
Oh,
it's just too much of density.
Those guys
of
want to destroy each other.
People are too
There's-
familiar.
People too familiar. People don't put up the walls they maybe should be.
We don't got to act right in front of in front of company.
This is why diversity is good.
That's
We
great.
solved it, guys.
We
Every
figured
place
it
should
out.
be diverse.
Oh, Lord.
All right. At confidently_pod. Hit us up on Instagram. Savon be running the account. He be sending out questions. Savon, do you post people's responses to your questions or do you just read them?
Sometimes I post them, sometimes I
All
read
right,
them.
all right.
If it's
Well-
a poll, I tend to post them.
Okay. Well, if you send us the responses in the question, you have a chance that Savon will make you famous. He'll put you up on socials. So
I'll bleep out your name if you want to. in
It'll
case you
go
say
out to
some dumb
all
shit.
50 of our followers. You will be an influencer.
hey,
Yeah, we got more than 50.
Yeah, get your
51.
Get your money up, y'all. All right, this has been fun. Tell your friends about us. We like to have more listeners and have more input on the show. So we're trying to get the word out. You know, if you got someone who likes comics, who likes movies, who likes shows, like the ones we talk about here, like She-Hulk and House of the Dragon, then send them our way. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.
Later.
Yeah.